Phoenix, 1957. Barbara LaPole was an 18-year-old senior at Camelback High School. She had come to Phoenix with her family 2 years prior from Waterloo, Iowa. During her senior year, Barbara decided to get a part-time job on weekends, and she found a position as a car hop at the Dog and Suds Drive-In. On Saturday night, January 12, 1957, Barbara was working at the drive-in, and around 7 o'clock a car pulled in, occupied by 17-year-old Barry Edward Bruce. He would later tell police that he and Barbara had been dating for the previous 7 months, and just a few days prior, on Wednesday, had an argument and hadn't spoken since. For the next 2.5 hours, Bruce sat in his car, drinking coffee and root beer. Around 9:40, Barbara told a friend that another one of her friends would be giving her a ride home that evening after her shift. It was then that Barry started honking his horn for service. Barbara was seen walking over and speaking with Barry as she stood outside his driver's side window. But moments later, 5 shots rang out, and Barbara would drop to the floor, dying within seconds. She was hit in the lip, left shoulder, and left breast. Barry attempted to shoot himself but misfired, causing a superficial wound on his scalp. Police would arrive quickly and took Barry into custody. He would tell them he had asked Barbara if she would take him back, and when she said no, he shot her. He said, "I shot her because she was going to leave me. I love her." Sitting on the passenger seat of Barry's car was a letter to his father, which said, "If Barbara won't come back to me, I can't live without her, and neither can she." The letter also asked for forgiveness from Barbara's father for his actions. Police interviewed several teenagers at the drive-in when the shooting happened. They would learn that Barry had asked Barbara to marry him several times. He refused. According to her parents and others, Barbara was actually engaged to be married in June to another man, Private First Class Othel Gruber, who at the time was on an Army assignment at Fort Meade, Maryland, and would be returning the very next day, only to learn of her death. Ironically, only 2 hours before the shooting, Barbara had asked a policeman who came to the drive-in what she could do about getting rid of a boyfriend who wouldn't take no for an answer. Services for Barbara LaPole were on Friday, January 18th in Waterloo, Iowa. She was survived by her parents, 3 sisters, and 2 brothers. Barry Bruce would turn 18 a few days after the shooting and would plead not guilty to the charge of first-degree murder. He changed his plea to guilty on the day of the trial, and on April 9th, 1957, he was sentenced to life in prison at the Arizona State Penitentiary. In 1968, the Arizona State Board of Pardons and Paroles recommended a sentence reduction for Bruce and that he be paroled in 5.5 years. Barry Bruce would pass away in 2004 at the age of 65. As far as her fiancé at the time, Othel Gruber, he would eventually marry another woman, have a family, and pass away in 2015 at the age of 78. This is what the location where the drive-in once stood looks like today. And this is the house that Barbara lived in at the time of her death. Barbara May LaPole is buried in the Garden of Memories in Waterloo, Iowa.